Hi everyone, I'm back with another video. This is week 13. It is also the final week for Orf Camera Flash. I think the next week is going to be prime lenses. Unfortunately, I don't own a prime lens, so I think what I'll do is just set it as a fixed focal length and to shoot with that for the entire month at fixed focal length. I don't know, maybe 100mm or 50mm, something like that. Alright, so let's started on this video here. Some of you may notice the little orange kitty cat that's in here. That was my brother's kitty. He came to Las Vegas, and he goes everywhere with my brother anytime he travels, and takes a picture of him. He actually started his own 365 with Kitty, and his little adventures doing whatever it is that he does. Kitty does everything from cooking to traveling to just getting into trouble. And he's been photographing it, so I don't know if he has a link for it shared or anything, but I'll talk to him, see what he says. Maybe I'll post a link in the forum. So this is Kitty here hanging out with a couple of his little stuffed animal friends playing the Xbox. I was actually just going to take a picture of Kitty himself, but it turned out that my niece wanted have a little powwow, and she decided to start placing all her little animal friends around along with Kitty there. So they kind of photobombed me. Alright, so let's get into this. I'm going to double click the image here and go into Camera Raw. And I'm going to start this one off with a preset from Michael Andrews Paintballer Pro. I think it's a great starting off place. That's kind of Michael's signature style. So I usually use it to start off an image and go in my own direction. But in order to use the actions in the new Camera Raw here, you actually have to go into the camera calibration and change the process from 2012 to 2010. I believe right now he's in the process of updating it, and he'll have that out soon. But for now, I'm going to use this the process to 2010, and then I'm going to jump over to the presets tab. And one I used was Hat Trick, because it really saturated the colors and made them bright. Kind of like the way it looked. So I'm going to use Hat Trick, and then I'm going to just jump over to the HSL HSL grayscale sliders and jump into saturation. Because this guy's a little bit radioactive here. It's a little bit too bright. So I'm going to start lowering them down. I'm actually going to start with Kitty over here. Turn his saturation down just a bit too, because you don't want him too radioactive looking. That's pretty good there. You can see it just toned it down just a little bit. And then yellows, I'll actually bring those up a bit and get these in here to jump. And maybe this guy, he looks a little I don't know, blah. And I'll raise that up. Get those yellows going there. And let's lower the magentas down and get rid of this pink, radioactive pink here. I think that looks good right around there. Little preview. Yeah. And then let's get these purples up a little bit too. I'm going to bring that up quite a bit. I think that looks pretty good. And you can see what we did here. Okay. And now I'm just going to open it up as an object in Photoshop, because I really like using smart objects, and that's what I'm going to use. A smart object. Okay. First thing I'd like to do here. I don't know. I'm going to focus on this couch a little bit here. It looks a little. It's leather, but it's not. I'm gonna make it a little shinier. Give it a little texture. Make it look really textured. So I'm gonna go in and create a curves adjustment layer, and then I'm gonna raise up these light colors here. The lighter or brighter colors. As you can see, if I zoom in here, you can look and see in between each there's a dark layer. Put on the move tool so you can point at it. You get a little dark little crevice here, and then the light one. So I'm going to try and raise these light ones up a bit. Okay. So let's start off. Be pretty bright. I'm not focusing really on what this looks like because that's just going to be masked away. I'm really just focusing on this light over here. That up a little more around there. And as you can see, it's kind of peaking that off. It's really throwing the whites way up. I'm going to kind of make this into a bit of an S curve here. Really move that down, darken it a lot. As you can see, it's got a lot of contrast to it. Maybe. Around there. That looks good. It's a weird looking curve, but what I'm going to do is just invert this mask here and get myself a brush. Swap out of this here. And B, the brush. And make sure white is selected because we want to paint. And I'm just going to paint in. That a little smaller, and just go around and paint the couch in a bit here. I'm not making this perfect. I mean, close enough is good. You could really spend the time and make a really accurate mask for this, but I'm not going to go too crazy with it here. Kind of paint in here. I'm using a soft edge brush as well, so it's not really bleeding into the rest of the image there. So zoom out 100%, less than 100 I should say, 25%. And just color over this. The couch actually looks shiny now. The thing I don't want is all this color. So what I'm going to do is change the blending mode to the layer to luminosity. So as you can see, it gets rid of all that color, and it just affects the tones, lightness and darkness of the image. So got rid of that little color cast. And I'm going to actually paint over this guy a little bit as well. Lower the opacity of the brush a bit here. Just paint over some of the spots on there, because he looked a little dark to me, a little bland, if you will. And give him a little texture as well. Go a little over the ear as well. And maybe I'll do it on this little guy too, just a little bit. Brighten some of his colors up here. That's Mr. Monkey. You fare good with that? No, I don't think that looks that good. No, maybe just a little bit over here. Just in the area of lightness that's on there. Okay. And it might be a little bit strong. I'm going to lower the opacity on that a bit. That looks good right there. See a before and after. I think what I'm going to do now is maybe just brighten some of the animals up a little bit. I'm going to do another curves adjustment layer. And I'm going to raise this. Around here somewhere. It's alright. And I'm going to invert the mask as well. You can hit Control I or just click on the mask and it brings over in the properties panel. Once again, you can use pressure sensitivity in F5 if you have pressure sensitivity on. This is actually a transfer, so it does work with the opacity that's on there, so the amount of how hard I press. I don't want that on. I'm just gonna paint over Kitty a little here, and over this guy a little. Just over the animals a bit, just to brighten them up a little bit. These the white on Kitty here looks a little dark. Just paint over that. Over there. I don't want too much on this. I'm actually going to swap my colors here and paint back over that. I don't want that one to be too bright. I mean, we could, you know, fix up some of the little things that are on the couch over there, but for the most part, that's pretty much it. I mean, the other thing we could do, if we zoom in over here onto the eyes, you can probably clean these eyes up a little bit, and you can see what was going on. So we can stamp all of these to a new layer. Having this layer, top layer selected, Control, Alt, Shift, and E. I'll stamp all the visible layers together to one layer. And then go over to our Dodge and Burn tool, which we want to do burning. And with the midtone selected, just paint on over the eye. I'm making multiple presses on here, so it's not just a single press. Continuously coloring, because I have the pressure sensitivity if the brush is still set, so you just paint right over. I don't want to get rid of the highlight, I want to keep the highlight, so just kind of paint over the areas inside the eye. completely get rid of it, but zoom back out. And you can pretty much do this with all of them. The highlight was kind of taken out of this one anyway. It's actually over there on that one. The fur right here is actually blocking the highlight. You could actually paint one in if you'd really want, but matter of fact, you know what? We'll put it in there. We'll go to the burn tool, and right over there, in this little area, I'm just going to paint over it just to bring in the highlight. I'm still on midtones here. So, it's turning blue. I'm just going to go to a brush and do a little touch with white. Right there. I don't really like that. Go back to my dodge and burn tool, and I'll burn in the edges over here. And try and kind of match the other highlight that's over here. Make it a little smaller. Back off. Oops, wrong way. And then the same thing on this little one here. We'll zoom back in and make the brush bigger. And I'm burning this in here. I'm going to change this to shadows. That's going to send it to black. It's actually getting rid of that noise and stuff that was in there. I mean, you could add some noise to it if you really want, but you'd have to send it to its own layer and then mask out everything else and then add the noise to it. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to change this back to midtones and hold down my Alt key and just paint over, because what this does is switches it to the dodge tool. Holding Alt, it doesn't switch it over in the menu here or up in the top, but it is actually switching it. And that's it. We'll back off. Did it the wrong way again. And do this one over here too, but I think you get the point. And that's it. Tab out and go into full screen. And there you go. Alright guys, I'll see you next week when I do prime lenses. Take care.